What is up, mathletes? So welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. Math, and today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing by fractions. All right, and this is going to be as easy as the last job that I had. Good times, good times. All right, so let's jump into this. Let me use a bunch of different colors to help me illustrate my points. So when we're multiplying fractions, what I want you to think about is if we have two fractions, it's really easy. All you do is multiply the top with the top, right? The numerator with the numerator, right? Don't make this all complicated. And then we multiply the bottom with the bottom. So 5 times 3. The denominator times the denominator. And that is it. That's as easy as it gets. So two things. Make sure that you practice your multiplication, all right? And do not confuse this with addition, all right? So multiplication and addition, two totally different things. And I like to think of it about it as like, don't confuse one girlfriend with another girlfriend. It's just bad news, right? Same thing goes here with multiplying fractions. So let's do another one just to make sure it makes sense. All right, example 2. While I put my equal sign, go ahead and press pause. Do it in your head. Make sure you got it. All right, here we go. So this equals the top times the top, we get 10. The bottom times the bottom, we get 21. And that's how easy it is. Later on, of course, our numbers are going to get bigger, right? So as an example, you'll see in a future video what we're going to do, because I don't know exactly where you're at right now, but we're going to get bigger numbers, say 21 and then say a 16 here. And let's say we multiply it by 8 and we multiply this by 7. So later on, our numbers are going to grow, and what you're going to not want to do is the first thing. Some people get happy after they learn this and they just, 21 times 8, and they're like, oh wow, that's a big number. So what I'm going to teach you how to do in future videos, or you might get it the first time I say it here, is I'll just teach you, you know what, first we cancel. So for example, see how both of these right here, the 8 and the 16, I could divide both those by 8. And as long as you're doing it to both the top and the bottom, right, the numerator and denominator, then it doesn't matter where they're located. And that's what's awesome about multiplying fractions, right? So if I divide 8 by 8, I'm left with a 1. And if I divide 16 by 8, I'm left with 2. And again, depending on where you're at, you might not be doing that yet. But just to kind of give you a sneak peek, so if you want to see a video like that, make sure you comment down below, you subscribe, so we know what type of videos to make for you. And then likewise, the 21 and 7, I could divide the 21 and the 7. I could divide both those numbers by 7, right? So 21 divided by 7 is 3. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So what we did is we made the numbers smaller. So when we multiply, it's much easier. And so for our final answer, we're left with 3 times 1, which is 3. And then the bottom times the bottom, 2. And for now, we'll just leave our answer as improper fraction, because we'll talk about that in another video. So that's how we multiply fractions. Now let's talk about dividing fractions. All right, so hopefully we're like, okay, it's not so bad. So dividing fractions is just as easy. All right, so what we do is when we have a fraction divided by a fraction, what we're gonna do is this very first fraction stays the way it is, right? It's beautiful the way it is. So we're going to go ahead and leave it as 3/4. But now that division, we're going to change this to multiplication, right? So the division, we change it to multiplication because you know how to multiply. But what's going to happen here is for our second fraction, make sure in your notes, you put that these two are going to flip, right? You're going to take the reciprocal. And that's a fancy word that says you're going to subscribe to this YouTube channel. No, it just means we flip that fraction. So we end up with 7/2. And now it's a multiplication. So we multiply the top with the top. and you get 21, and you multiply the bottom with the bottom, and you get 8. And this is how baby fractions are born. All right, let's do our last example here. So again, we have a division, except it just looks a little different, right? So you got 2 divided by 3, and that fraction is divided by 4 divided by 5. So we got 2/3 and 4/5. So let's go ahead and divide them. Right now it looks a little funny, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and rewrite this so it looks nicer. So it looks like something like this. So we end up with 2/3. And that division sign, check it out. This division sign right here, I'm just gonna rewrite it so it looks like this division sign, right? And we have 4/5. So now if I look at it, well, this looks very similar to what we just did here. So what did we say? Well, we take that first fraction, the 2/3, and you leave it exactly the way it is. And what do you do with that division sign? Good. You heard that creepy person behind you? They said multiply. And then what do you do with the 4/5? Perfect. You go ahead and you flip it. Flip it good. Da-na-na-na-na. You must flip it. All right. And so last step, we multiply straight across. And if you want, we could get fancy, right? Because I just taught you how to do it in the earlier minutes. I could divide 2 and 4. I could simplify that. I could divide both of those by 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. And 4 divided by 2 leaves me with 2. So we made the number smaller, which is good because I like multiplying small numbers. I like small numbers in a town, no lie. And so what we're left with is 1 times 5, which gives us 5. And we multiply 3 times 2, which gives me 6. That's 6 in French. And there we go, folks. So now you know how to multiply and divide fractions. And again, let us know what type of videos you want. We're listening. We got time. We're stuck inside. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.